All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you so very much for tuning in today on this fine Friday afternoon. The weather's really nice. Horrible weather for webinars, right? But maybe some of you are sitting outside. Maybe some of you are enjoying a nice beverage on this Friday afternoon, taking it easy, so nice and socially distanced. Thanks so much for tuning in. I will tell you personally, I am so very excited for this webinar. I cannot wait for this one. But some ground rules first. Number one, in the webinar platform, you should see the chat near the bottom. If you're on mobile, it might be under the more. Sometimes there's a 3 dot. It might be under there. But we do encourage you to take a moment and do a quick introduction to yourself. So say hi in the chat. And we always recommend, just you'll notice it says all panelists in the chat. Just change that to all panelists and attendees. That way everybody else can see it as well, and we all see it. The next thing is oh, we're actually not going to turn the chat off. I got an old slide there. Sorry, we're not going to turn the chat off. We'll leave it on for everybody. So do feel free to keep talking. We love seeing it. But I want to encourage you all to ask your questions in the Q&A. And the reason for that is because, Richard is going to be interviewing Tara and Tom, and we've got a lot of set questions. So we're going to give priority to the Q&A. If you put it in the chat, we just might miss it. Okay. So do check it out. You should see a little Q&A. It's looks like two people talking, right? So do feel free to check that out. Now, I always like to report in from everybody here, just to let you guys know where people are coming from. And I don't know if you guys are following the chat here, if you turn it off, but we got people all the way from Campbell River. Awesome. Love it. Love it. Campbell River, BC, all the way on Vancouver Island to Montreal, Oakville, Victoria, Penticton, Port Moody, Stayner, Ontario, Kimberley, BC, Ottawa, Hamilton, Oakville. You guys really promoted this to all the Royal LePagers out there, eh, Tara and Tom? You guys really, you're like, hey, at the conferences, so better show up. But thanks so much, everybody, for letting us know. I just like to let my audience, or like to let my panelists know that, we are nationwide. We've got everybody here. I mean, Victoria, South Shore, Montreal, Aurora, Stratford, Welland, Muskoka. I mean, Muskoka, see, now that's, are we allowed to be in Muskoka? Are they from Muskoka? Let's be clear. Anyways, okay. Calgary, Scarborough, love it. So I'm so excited for this session, old virtual versus new virtual marketing with Richard Robbins. And, of course, if you are not familiar with Richard Robbins, I hope we've done a lot of work with Richard in the past few months. And I want to thank him personally for all the work he's done for us. He's been on this a lot. We've been getting to know each other a little bit. But, if you don't know Richard that much, he's a true leader with a lot of integrity. And he's led his organization through, over 2 decades as North America's most preeminent authority on real estate sales and business performance. And if you've come to his sessions, his workshops, his many, all the things that Rich and his team do, that, performance is such a big piece for him. If you don't know Richard at all, you should know that he's from Peterborough, Ontario. He actually started as a realtor at the age of 24, and he tells me not to say that.
Oh, and Mike's frozen.
Mike froze on us.
So we know that Richard started at age of 24. Start that story for us, Richard.
And actually, I sort of like that look of Mike there. What do you all think? That's a good pose. Anyway, let's go ahead. Yeah, we'll get started here. Yes, I did start when I was 24 in Peterborough. I was 27. I moved to Markham, Unionville. I opened a real estate company. Had that from 1988 to 1998, so 10 years. And I sold that, and we started Richard Robbins International. So it's been it's been a while we've been doing this, so it's all good. Everybody says, how come you only do real estate? And I said, because obviously it's all I'm qualified to do. It's all I know, right? Like, what else could I do?
All right, hey guys, I've had some internet issues, and it looks like my internet has decided to stop working again, which is great. So I'm just now here on my mobile. So, I didn't get to do the full intro for Rich, but in terms of that, like I said, I mean, in his first year, 6-figure salary, this guy knows performance. And if you've seen the way he interviews, the way he talks to agents, he knows performance, and he knows what's the buzz in real estate. And that's why I'm so excited to have him here today and to speak with Tara and Tom Lyons, who are some good friends who I've known through conferences through many years. And as I was saying just before we started, I always learn something new from them. So I'm really excited to kick it over to them.
Thank you, Mike. Hey, that was a good catch, man. He came back there, didn't he? Right back in. I like that. That was a good catch. Great job, buddy. You're a pro. Well, welcome everybody. So good to have you all here. I'm very excited I get to spend some time today with Tom and Tara Lyons from Belleville, who are great clients, number one, but also great friends. We've been, actually, how long have you been involved with us now, Tara?
I have been involved with you probably almost from the beginning with you. 20 years ago,
Yeah.
I went to your first seminar, and I think you've been around for 21 years, maybe?
That's right. That's right.
And so, yeah, it's been a long time, and on and off, right? As we all try new things. But of course, I came back.
Good. Well, we're glad you're home, as we
Yeah.
say. We're glad you're home. But yeah, so it's so good to have you here today. And it's so funny, we were joking before we actually started this, that to everybody looking at Tom and Tara right now, they probably don't appear like geeks, okay? But let me tell you something. When it comes to technology, they get it. So we got some really interesting things for you today, and we had a call yesterday to get ready for this, and so I'm really excited to get some information to you, and really what they are. The way I look at it is technology is great for many things, but I think what it's best for is marketing, right? It's great for communication. There's many ways it can be used, but I'd like to spend some day talking about marketing, because I think what's going on with the COVID-19, it's been a difficult time for many, many people. They're trying to get started again. You know, it seems like our country is starting to come out of this a little bit. Some are moving faster than others. But I think at this point, a lot of people just need to generate leads, right? And figure out a way that they can find more leads, buyers and sellers to work with. And so you're in Belleville. What's the population of Belleville for everybody?
55,000.
You're 55. Have you lived there your whole life?
I have, yes. Tom grew up out west.
I grew up in Calgary, but
did you?
For what's relevant, yes, here.
He's been here since he was 15. We've been married 28 years this year, I think.
28 years, yep.
Wow, very nice. So what brought you from Calgary to Belleville, Tom?
Family was here, so we moved here. I'd like to say that it was Tara that brought me here, because I met her my first year here, and we have been side by side since then.
You know, it's interesting. My wife and I work together as well. Obviously, she sort of runs everything, and you know, my kids always you know, tease me at dinner. They'll say it's like the big fat Greek wedding. I don't know if you saw that, but they said, "Oh yeah, you're the head, all right, but mom's the neck, and you know what moves the head is the neck," right? So now, do you find it hard to work together, right, and sort of live together, or does that just work for you guys pretty well?
No, that works for us really well.
Perfect situation for us.
Yeah, we love working together.
Our first business together was when we were 16, Tom, 17, and we had a car wash. $2 a car wash. We were out there washing cars.
Amazing, eh? Amazing. That's good. And you know, you see many partnerships that work out in real estate are husband and wife or partners, right? Like you do see that quite often. Okay, so let's get into marketing. We want to talk about how we can generate some new leads. So you guys have been in the business a long time. Again, you're in a smaller market, so it's important people know that. You're doing your volume's what, 75, 100 deals a year, right around that sort of thing?
Yeah, around 75 to 80.
Yeah, 75 to 80 deals per year. One thing that you did 10 years ago, and I still remember talking about this, it has to be 5 or 6 years ago, with creating a Facebook fan page, if you will.
Yeah, and now, it was 2010 we created that page.
Was it?
Yeah.
How, and the reason I want to talk about this is because this is producing really good results for you. So how many people, first of all, do you now have that have liked your fan page, if we want to call it that?
It's fluctuated. We got it built up to about 5,800, I think was our highest, almost 6,000. But it really, over the years, spans around 55 to 5,600, which is a lot for a small area like this.
It's huge. Now, you call it I Love Belleville, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
We started it as a community page to be able to, we didn't start it off as real estate. Started it off to show people what was going on in the community, there was no central page where people could find out where events were going on, learn about the community. So that's where it started. Yeah. And then of course, the light goes off and goes, oh, why are we not putting our stuff on here? So.
Yeah. Now, in terms of business, what sort of results generally on a yearly basis would it produce for you?
So we get anywhere from 10 to 25 deals out of that a year. And it just depends on the year, and it depends on how much. So always A-list, right? Database is number one. So if I'm really busy with my A-list, I don't follow up with the leads quite as well as I should. So we have an automated system and we'll go through that. But if I am not as busy with my A-list, or I have a buyer's rep or somebody like that who can help me following up, because you can only do so many deals as a single person, right? And so then we do better. The better I follow up, the better we do. That's why I say anywhere from 10 to 25.
And we ramp too. We ramp up or down based on, I try and measure how busy Tara and Julie are, and we ramp up and down based on that.
Yeah. So we actually can control the amount of leads that we do.
Yeah.
And the team, so you talk about Julie, so you have a buyer's agent.
Yes, I have Julie Martin, who's a rock star.
Right. And you don't have an assistant that works directly for you. You use virtual assistants, correct?
Yes. Correct.
Okay, which we're going to talk about as we get into this. So let's talk about, because I've got here about 5 different great ideas. Actually, I got more than that. We'll see how far we can get in terms of how to generate leads. So first of all, let's talk about the fan page. So a lot of agents have personal pages. Not a lot of agents have what we call business pages or fan pages, correct? Correct. You decide to create this fan page. I love Belleville. It became a community page. So here's what I'd love for you to do, because yes, it's been 10 years, but that doesn't mean somebody couldn't start one this year and start to develop this community. And they're not going to have 5,000 people on it, and they're probably not going to get 15 deals in the first year, but this is something they could start to grow. And as you said yesterday, it's more of a marathon play, right? With social media. So will you tell the listeners, first of all, what are some keys to making this thing work, and maybe give them some ideas of what it is you're posting on there? And all of them can go to I Love Belleville, obviously, and they can see for themselves. But just give everybody some ideas.
So if I was starting over and I had to start this page fresh, I would start with community first, which so what we did early on, and it still works great today because we do the odd post in that fashion, is we would go to local businesses, we would interview them, or we would go to local parks in the area and we would visit them, and we would film them, we would talk about them, and events that are occurring, Santa Claus parades, we would film. The Christmas train coming into town, we would film things that are happening in the community that we know are interesting and fun. And the reason why we build those posts in themselves didn't generate a lot of business. Those posts built our fan page up. We would get a lot of likes on those, and we would build an audience, and therefore we would build an asset, and one that we can retarget to. And we'll get into retarget advertising a little bit later, right? As the page grows, we added more content on real estate, and what we found was that people were actually pretty interested in our real estate content. And it was the real estate content that would generate the business for us. And that's the content we would actually promote as well. So you could promote your posts, you can advertise your posts, right? So we would do this general organic stuff to build the likes and posts, and then we would do the real estate stuff, which we would spend a little bit of money on, which would generate business.
So give us maybe some ideas of, because everybody knows what you can do in the community, and they can go have a look at your page. I don't want to spend a lot of time there because they can look the content up. But give us some idea of a successful real estate post that, I know you're promoting them, you're spending a little bit of money, but which ones do you think are most effective that you're using?
Before you mention what I think you will, Tom, I'd say Tour Tuesday for the video part.
Yeah. Okay. So for something that you want to go out to people, to continually make sure you're in front of them, and to build what we call a little bit of celebrity effect. We do what's called Tour Tuesday. You can make it whatever you want, but every single Tuesday, our area for Royal LePage goes out and tours the homes, or we used to tour the homes, right, before COVID. And so we started this Tour Tuesday video where we would put a dash cam or a GoPro mounted as a dash cam, and we would film ourselves just driving around the neighborhood. We wouldn't do the homes, but we would talk about what we're seeing, talk about what's happening in the market, talk about some fun stuff. We would get requests from people to do carpool karaoke. So we do carpool karaoke for our A-list, which means we get to do a call out to them, right? We go to, hey, Jim, we're doing this carpool karaoke for you. And our A-list would love that. And they watch that on a regular basis. And then a lot of our fans watch it too, or a lot of general community do. So we get a little bit of celebrity effect from that.
And we bring people into, like our broker, or sometimes we bring a client into because they wanted to be part of it. They jump in the van with us. We drive around the parking lot. Yeah. A
subject matter expert. We'd bring in a mortgage broker, we'd bring in a lawyer, that sort of thing. We call out our partners on a regular basis to help drive business. for them. We've interviewed other businesses on it. So just stuff like that on Tour Tuesday. Regular, every single week, always goes out. It's been going out since 2014, I think, right? So very consistent with it.
So every
And
Tuesday.
when
Now,
we-
how long is this video?
less than 5 minutes,
No,
Okay.
typically.
I'm gonna disagree with Tara. I'm gonna politely agree to disagree with Tara.
You tell me
um,
5 minutes all the time.
Yeah, I tell her, but that video can range anywhere from a 5-minute to a 13-minute video. And so I'm going to address a myth for video right now, for everybody, because we hear all the time, oh, you can't have your videos longer than 5 minutes. And that myth came about because people wouldn't watch a video for 5 minutes. That's because we're boring. Right? We will watch a movie for 2 hours. We'll watch a show for a half hour, which means that and we see our kids all the time out there watching people play video games for a half hour on YouTube or for 2 hours on YouTube, right? It's because that's interesting. So it's not that videos have to be 5 minutes long. You have to be interesting enough to have them watch you for longer than 5 minutes. So the video can be as long as it needs to be. My advice is make it concise. It doesn't need to be short. Make it concise and make it relevant. Right, and you can make it as long as you want.
Okay, so let's talk about the video. So you would record these videos just using a GoPro, which is great. And then now when you were driving around, you weren't Facebook Live though, were you?
We have done that.
We have done
Oh.
that.
When we
Okay.
forgot our GoPro.
Right. So let's talk about this. So you create the video, and so you have this rough footage, correct?
Correct.
This required some editing. Yes.
Correct. Yes.
So then what you would do is take this rough footage, you would send it virtually to a virtual assistant. Am I going down the right path here?
Yeah, you're pretty much nailing it. Now, in the past, I've sent it directly to, like, I've taken the rough footage with no editing and sent it to my virtual assistant. We've paid for the software. I like to use Cyber Power Director, which is a great editing software, not overly expensive. That's the one we use, but there's others out there. If you got a Mac, you can use the stuff that's on a Mac. Doesn't matter what you use, but we would pay for the software for our virtual assistant, and then they could edit it. I like to edit the software, or not the software, I like to edit the video. So I'll do the editing myself most of the time, right?
Okay.
But then he goes out, our assistant will then go out and promote it to the areas that we've told him to.
Yeah, because
Okay, so-
we've got a big long checklist for him to go through.
So there's my next question. So now we got this video, you just go out, you record it, you have some fun, and you could be doing it with partners. You could have a mortgage broker in the car with you. You can have anybody, doesn't matter. You just have some fun, right? Stager in the car with you. You're driving around. And let's face it, it doesn't have to be done in a car. You can do it any way you want. It's just the whole idea here is you're creating a weekly video that's bringing valuable content. You've got it edited. You can get that done virtually. There's all kinds of companies that will do that right now for very little money, by the way. Or maybe you do it yourself, because everybody says, well, what's the, what editing should I use? And here's what I believe. I say to everybody, listen, if you're into that, you can do it yourself, if it's your thing. But for most people, it's not their thing and they know nothing about it. So I'm going, well, then why on earth would you do the editing? You need to send this away. What are some companies that will do video editing for you?
So there's a couple. My favorite is one, if you can't train your virtual assistant to do it for you, because they can be inexpensive, is to go to Fiverr. There are some fantastic video editors that will do videos for you for $25.
I know.
Right?
That's what I mean. Like Fiverr, I've heard a lot about Fiverr, or you can have a virtual assistant do that. Okay, so now you got the video. Videos say 5 minutes, doesn't matter. It's 5 minutes long.
Yeah.
Where do you post it? You're not just putting it on your fan page.
Just
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
that, though, Tom, I am going to state this. If you are afraid to do any of that, you can do Facebook Live. You have your phone, you have your smartphone, just do the Facebook Live. There's no editing and it gets out there. And that's the key, is getting it out there.
Yeah.
So, sorry,
Great.
go ahead.
Now, if you do that, which I agree, it's so easy to do. You go Facebook Live, it's like we all got our own television camera in our hand, right?
Yep.
And that goes up there. So now, and you can take that video and you can put it other places, right? Even Facebook Live. But now you get this edited. So tell us, how do you push this out and where do you push it out? That sort of thing.
Yeah, that's a great question. So we post a lot of places. It goes to our website for sure. We do a blog post for it. We use software called Otter.ai to do the transcription. You can have it done for free. It does it with artificial intelligence, a little bit of editing, your virtual assistant, or you can just go through, make sure there isn't anything super weird in it, right? When you're done, we take that transcript, we put it onto our blog post along with a little summary of what it is, right, to help a little bit with the search engine stuff. But we get it on the blog, we get it on Facebook, we get it up on YouTube, we get it up on often a little clip on Instagram, we get it up on LinkedIn. So we get it pretty much on all the social media platforms. But I don't want to overwhelm everybody here because Facebook is where we get most of our attention from. We used to do a ton with YouTube, like a ton of it, and we slowly switched. And this is kind of, this is where perception becomes really important, because people would go look at our YouTube page now and they look at that and they say, well, that video has like 3 views. Why are you even posting it there? I'm posting it there because it's easier to embed that video on our blog than it is to embed Facebook video on our blog, right? But that YouTube video looks dead, right? Like 3 views looks like we're not doing anything there, but we get 1,000 and change off of our Facebook one. And the reason why I don't take the YouTube video and put the YouTube video on Facebook is we get a much better result doing a native download of the video to Facebook instead of a link. That's why we do it that way. And I know that probably was a lot of technical stuff to toss out. So if anybody needs to dig deeper into that, feel free to reach out to me.
But we also picked Facebook, and we mentioned this with Rich because there are a lot of people in the larger cities where Instagram and some of these other Twitter that were very big for them, still aren't for us as the way Facebook still is here. Because I know some people have this illusion that Facebook is over, right? And that sometimes gets out there too. But for us, it's not. And it was always bigger than some of those other platforms. So it really is dependent on your area. And I would suggest the smaller communities may still do better with Facebook than some of those others, because we'd maybe have 12 people on Twitter. Well, what are we going to get from that? So that's key too for your location.
Well, I think it's location. I also think it's age, right? Depending on what age group you're targeting as well. Let's face it, a little younger age group is bigger on Instagram. So yeah, 100%, right? But and what you said yesterday made a lot of sense to me. You look and you see, got all these platforms, right? You got Facebook, you got Instagram, you got YouTube, you got Twitter, you got TikTok. We can go on and on about all these platforms. And you don't have to be good at them all. You just got to decide which one are you going to own, right? And where you're going to get the best results. And because you've already created this fan page, obviously it's the most logical place to go. Okay, so I'm going to move on. So what we've talked about, just to summarize so far, is you create a fan page. And I don't want to talk about content. They can go look. I don't want to waste their time with that. If they're interested in that, go look at that. We've also talked about video. Now, you create these videos, just using a GoPro. But a lot of people are using videos for many other reasons other than just, Tour Tuesday, as well as you are, correct? So will you give us some insights, and then we'll move from there into the whole bold lead thing, but give us some insights into BombBomb is a big brand in video. You said to me yesterday, there's all kinds of other tools that you could use that are maybe more inexpensive and might do just a good job. So first of all, ideas and video platforms they could use, and number 2, where could they effectively be using video if that is one of the strategies that they're interested in?
Do you want to do this one, Tara?
Yeah. So I have done BombBomb, but now I use one called Loom and Dub. And Dub would be the equivalent of BombBomb. But it's just because I found them easier. And Tom is completely the tech guy, and then he has to get me to do it. So we have to find things that work for me as well. And I found Loom really easy because it's a click, one click, and I'm ready to go. Because I get really tired of clicking here and there and everywhere and trying to figure that out. And then I put it really easily into Dub and it gets out. Video, I have done many different things. Of course, CMAs, we've been using video CMAs when we get our online leads, and we send those out, and we've been doing that for several years now. Gosh, I think almost 5 years now, if we figured. And so
explain that a little bit for us, Tara. So video CMA, you get a lead. So just tell us what it's all about.
So
how it works.
That would lead into BombBomb, or into bold leads. So when I get a lead in, we have very specific an email campaign that goes out, and I only respond to the ones that respond back to my email campaigns that go out, because we get over our easily, I think it was 100 or 200 sometimes during these busy months, right? So that's too many leads to follow up on. So we follow up on the ones that respond to our email campaign that goes out. And one of the best lines in an email, because email doesn't always get responded to, but Bold Leads won't let you send video unless I send it individually, which I do incorporate into it. So the response that I go back out is, I want them to see me. I want them to see my personality. So I actually do. And it's just like what Mr. Dart there did for us this week. Richard
Nathan Dart.
Nathan,
Yeah.
He did his whole listing presentation on there. Well, I do my CMA there as well. And it's a short one. It just shows, a history in their neighborhood, history on their house. And I share my screen, and I'm looming. I use Loom. I share my screen. It has me in the corner, which Bomb does too. And I can share that with them. And it's a really quick, that's the one where I do the less than 5 minutes. Sometimes it's 7, but I like to keep it really short. And every single one of them gets opened because you can track it. And and I ask for the response, and then I go from there. And that's where we get the deals from.
And this is brilliant. So let's go back to Bold Leads, okay? And then we'll move through the process. So Bold Leads, basically you're purchasing leads.
Correct.
Right?
So,
it's a company.
Yeah, and we used to do, so let me kind of start at the beginning with that. We used to do the exact same advertisement that they do. We used to handle it ourselves, right? Which meant that I had to make sure that I created the leads. I had to generate it. What's your home worth is a great example. When I had to create the landing page for it, I had to watch to make sure the leads weren't getting old. I had to change the images. I had to update them. I had to do the correct marketing and targeting on Facebook. Like, you get the point, right? Lots of work associated with that. So I started looking at it going, okay, well, Bold Leads comes to me. They say, well, we can do this exact same thing. We're going to do the advertising in the same place. I go, okay, well, let's test you against me, right? We'll see if you can generate the leads for a lower cost per lead and relevant lead. That's the key, right? Because there's a lot of non-relevant leads that come in, right? So relevant lead against what I'm doing for relevant leads. If you can do as good of a job, then I'm going to sign on with you. We already know how to convert them, right? And that's why we chose them, because they were doing the same thing we were doing. It's just now I don't have to worry about my Facebook ad account, right? I don't have to do the work that's associated with it, and I'm generating the same quality leads.
Yeah. And for everybody, there's lots of companies out there that, Bold, just one company that we're talking about here that produces online leads. There's many, I'm sure they're being targeted every day as agents. Everybody's trying to sell leads. So anyway, now you've got these leads coming in. Now, one of the challenges I see is we talk about the conversion of leads, and I don't care what you read, it's 1.5 to 4% in terms of conversion, right? The lead conversion. However, you've done something differently, because you're not necessarily trying to convert every lead, right? You're having them self-qualify. So I want you to tell it, because this to me is very important for anybody that's going to get involved in the virtual world when it comes to lead generation.
I've been doing this one for so long that I could probably tell you every trick that everybody's ever tried and which ones are actually working. And we've been as high as an 18% conversion rate on our leads when we're really working them. And so if you're only doing 1 to 2, like, you can get that out of your A list. But but what we do is we send out, and it's actually really interesting. It's the email that gets the most, and I'm more than happy to send this to anybody who wants it, because I don't remember the exact wording right now, but it's asking them what they've done to their house. And it's the second email that comes out. The very first one goes out immediately when they've sent the request to me. The first
fast.
Sorry?
Fast. Like, it comes out right away.
Immediately.
So they send you an inquiry, bang, an email goes out, all automated, right?
Yes, It's automated. The email goes out, says, thank you very much. I've received your request on such and such a property. I'm working on the evaluation. I'm going to be sending you some more questions. Then about not that long after, it's the same day, the next email goes out. And this is the one that I respond back to if somebody has responded to me. And so it's the one saying, still working on your evaluation. What have you done, upgraded in your home, any improvements in your home? So now I'm engaging them to respond back to me. And when I get a response back from that, I know they're actually more serious. And we have on that initial form, are you thinking from 1 to 3 months, 6 to 12, whatever, right? So you do pay attention to that. But, and then I make sure, like, I get it out the same day. Sometimes it might be the next day, just because of, if you're out listing homes and doing offers, you can't necessarily do it.
You're talking about the CMA now, right?
The CMA. Yeah. But here's what I have learned, and this is really key. because people are, I know a lot of people, and I know I've been through it. You feel like you have to give them the price. You have to tell them exactly, okay, this is what it is. And I did that. So like I said, I've tried everything.
Yeah.
You don't give them the price. You tell them what's going on in their area. You show that you know what's happening. You give them the information that shows you know the knowledge. And then you ask for the appointment. And when I'm sitting here, just like I am with you, you can see how sincere I am about that. Do you get that in an email? Because I used to do just email, not video. And you don't get that in that in the email.
Okay, so let's explain to everybody how this works. So, you know, it comes in, automatically response goes back, right? And then that you ask them these questions, still working on your CMA. Because obviously this whole bold leads, it's all about, you want a complimentary opinion of value of your home, right?
And we're
That's
focusing
correct.
on sellers, not buyers.
That's the hook, right? The hook is, hey, you want to
That's
purchase.
the hook. Absolutely.
Okay, so there's a hook. So then what happens is you do send a CMA to those people that respond about any improvements or whatever to their home. So that has self-qualified them a little bit. They have self-qualified to you. You don't have to worry about the rest. You just worry about the serious ones, right?
Yes.
So now you send a CMA, and the CMA is you using Zoom or Loom, Loom. And just so that everybody's watching right now, that means Tara's picture would be in the corner and she's sharing her screen. She's recording her screen. And what she's doing is she's showing them the homes that are for sale or the homes that have sold in their neighborhood. So Tara's talking. She goes, well, you know, if you look at this house over on First Street right here, this house is listed for, you know, and it's got 4 bedrooms, whatever, you know, and you pick maybe what, three comparables?
I never do more than 3. No.
Yeah, so you do 3 comparables. And then she sends that information. So all they see here is in the corner, but what they actually see is they see her screen being recorded of a copy of the actual listing, and she's talking about the listing they see on screen. So for those who don't understand what we're talking about, that's exactly how it works, right?
Yeah.
So now the CMA goes out. Now let me ask this: how many of these CMAs roughly would you do? Let's not talk COVID right now. Let's talk, you know, say a normal May. How many CMAs would you send out in a month? And say a normal May, just roughly, because I know it could vary.
Yeah, gosh, when I used to respond to all of them a lot, now that I narrow it down, I probably do about 10.
Okay, so now you do 10 CMAs in a month, which is manageable, right? You can do that, right? So anybody can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how much are you paying? Just give everybody an idea, because everybody's going, well, that's all fine, but you know, what are you paying? $400 per CMA, right, to get this lead? Can you give us some idea what your cost is, just rough?
Yeah, so for an entire year we're around 7,200, right? And what that's advertising and management of all the bold leads.
Okay, so you're $500, $600 a month. So we're $600 a month, and they look after all the bold leads. Now that's $600 a month. How much business are you getting from that $600 a month, roughly?
So that's where we're doing anywhere from 10 to 25, just depending on how much and just to give you an idea, like our average commission here is a lot different than in a lot of some of the other centers. I love your commissions way more than mine. Prior to 2017, we were on average of about 4,000. We're now anywhere between 6,000 and 7,000 commission.
Right.
So to put that in perspective, we spend around 7,000, but we make somewhere between 40 and 80.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, good. So you're making 40 to 80, beautiful. 40 to 80 and a $7,000 spend. Now, so now what happens, because again, this whole lead follow-up is the secret to success in leads.
Yeah.
We all can agree on that. So now you've sent the CMA out. What happens now?
So you always want to follow up, right? And quite often I can actually say probably about 80 to 85% of the time I get a response back because I ask for it. And I don't just leave that in the video, and that's key too. Don't just send the video. When you send it and attach it in an email, right, you always want to make sure you put a little blurb and say, please make sure you watch the video. This is what I'm saying. And it's about a 2-liner that I put in it. And I ask them, please let me know you've received this if you have any questions. And then I follow up, and depending on my schedule will depend on, it's all less than a week, but just depending on how busy I am.
Yeah, fortunately her follow-up generally isn't too heavy with it, because the way that she does that video and how it's structured, they're usually responding pretty quick to set up an appointment, or they're saying, I was just looking at it, I'm not interested. So we get a yes or no relatively quickly, and then she's going out for a listing appointment on it, right? So that happens pretty quick. And then we haven't touched on all those other people that don't self-identify. We don't abandon them either. right? That email campaign is a 24-month email campaign that continues to go out, giving them some value add, giving them some asks if they're still interested, etc., back and forth for 2 years. And we still pick up leads from those people who self-identify themselves. So there's no extra work we have to do for them, but it is a long campaign that we run them through.
And
Okay,
I've
so this
sold some that
campaign
are
is,
over a year.
it's fully automated, right? So now did you create this campaign yourself? Or is this something done through like a company, Bold Leads or whatever?
So I'm gonna say yes to that question, because a lot of the emails have been rewritten by myself. A lot of those emails have been plagiarized from other people. A lot of those emails would have come from Bold Leads, right? Like they're a real mix mash of what we found has worked over the course of these last 10 years of doing this, right? I probably at this point in time couldn't tell you where each of those emails came from and why we continue. And today we still change them. Like we still go back, and there was a pet one that we looked at and we went, that's not as friendly as it could be, and we rewrote it. Right?
Okay, so these emails, again, I know it's a 2-year campaign,
Yeah.
Which is called the long tail, right? You're now playing the long tail.
Correct.
So the long tail, how often would they get something from you?
So it starts off with a lot really early, and then it starts to extend out.
Right.
So the first sequences, there's multiple emails within the first 2 weeks, like almost once every 2 days sort of idea. After that 2 weeks, then it starts to extend out to an email about once a week for like another 2-3 weeks. And then after that, it extends out to once a month. And then it extends out, like when we get really close to the end, we're doing like, they're really short emails where it's like at the 6 month, are you still interested in buying or selling your home? Right.
So,
Like that sort of idea. And they're going out once every 6 months or so.
so it's really important, the people that do respond to me, that I need to go in and change their campaign, because
Yes.
Right.
I don't want them receiving something that somebody who hasn't responded to me to, so you have to make sure you do manage that part of it.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, beautiful stuff. So I want to get to, we do have some questions in here, but I do want to get to one more thing that I think is really important. There's so many things we could get to here, but like I said yesterday, time always goes fast, right? I want to talk about Zoom meetings, because I'm trying to pick which I think are the big ones, right? There's so many things, but I like this idea, the whole ask me anything. So can you tell everybody what you're doing there? Because I think now we're in this whole Zoom world, right? And everybody's used to it. We're, at one time where you go, Zoom, what are you talking about, right?
Yeah.
And now everybody's, that's the way we live. And I'm not convinced it's going away anytime soon. So, so tell us about that, because that's been a great source of deals for you as well.
It has, and it's really great actually. So our Tour Tuesday, we now do it by Zoom. And we do it with our buyer rep, Julie. So she's at her house, we're at ours. So we've incorporated that with Zoom. So we do it. But we started up 2 things. So one is the AMA, Ask Me Anything, and we put it out to the public, and we did not promote it. And that was where we put it out saying, we're going to be on for an hour. I'm going to tell you right now, don't do an hour, do half an hour. An hour is way too long to be online. So now just do 30 minutes.
So when you put it out to the public, what's the public? How do you put it out?
Good. Yeah. So we put it just on our fan page, where we have the benefit of having a large fan page, but we could have promoted it as an event.
Right.
If you don't have that same audience already available to you. So we just made a post online saying that we're going to be here at blank time doing a live CMA, or live AMA, I should say.
AMA.
Okay.
Ask me anything. So we wanted to actually, because with COVID, there's so many unknowns of what was going on. So we decided, let's put it out to the public first. So that's what we did. We had a preset list of questions, and we had Julia have some and myself have some, and Tom monitored it for us, because we weren't sure how many people we were going to get and if there were going to be any questions. So what we did is we acted as if those questions were coming in to keep the engagement, as opposed to us just telling. So we'd say, oh, we've got another question, and we bring that in. So have that preset questions. What was really interesting is, I do have some numbers for you. This was our first one, because we've done a couple now and we've learned. And we also did it through Zoom and linked it through Facebook. So it became Facebook Live.
Yeah.
And so
everybody's watching, just, if you set up a Zoom meeting, you can go to Facebook, your Facebook account on Zoom, it says right spot on Zoom, and you can actually be broadcasting this live as you're doing this meeting for all the listeners.
And the reason why we did that is you get post engagement, and that was really important for us because we got a client out of it. So we didn't during the live.
Boom.
Yeah, we didn't during the live. They saw it afterwards. They still thought it was live because people are still getting used to it. But here's the thing, a lot of forgiveness is being given to us learning right now. So take advantage of that. People understand that people are learning. So take advantage of it, because it will become the norm, and then you won't have that forgiveness.
Yeah.
But we had, during the live portion, when we were actually doing it live, we had 149 views. Post, about 3 days later, we checked, we had 367 views, and we had over 772 people reached, and we had comments, and what was really important out of that is we actually had 95 people click through to our website. Wow. So it's really important to make sure you've got the proper links and everything like that there as well. But
lesson with that was, had we known that would have been a result, because I never thought that would actually happen, 94 people would visit our site. I might have created something custom for the people on the AMA, right, to have something like a checklist or something like that, so that we could have self-identified them. The upside is with Facebook, we get to retarget, so I can at least run ads to those 94 people, right, and retarget them at a really inexpensive rate. So there is that advantage.
So timing is also important too. We did that one during the day. We did it in the morning, actually, 10:30 to 11, I think it was. And then the next one we did, it was at 6:30 at night. And that's the one that broke down partway through, and we didn't know, but Tom, of course, was monitoring. So it's kind of important to have somebody monitoring, because he got us back up in live, but we had a lot of engagement on that as well. But the other one that we did was we did a Zoom link, and we did that to our A-list, and we called it office hours, because our offices aren't open. So
so just a minute, let's stop there again for a sec. I just want to make sure that the listeners understand, because we got this internal dialogue, right? RI and you, because you're in our coaching program. Yeah. So it's like our own lingo, So what we do is we teach something called the lifetime referral system here in our company. And obviously what we're recommending is you create a database of people, and your database, you're probably going to have an A-list, and the A-list in your database are your biggest supporters, right? They're the people you've done business with. They're the people that refer business to on a regular basis. They're the people you stay in touch with. So the A-list is just a smaller group within your database that you're going to have. Okay, Tara, sorry.
No, I'm glad to clarify. That's such a part of my life that I don't even.
I know.
And just so you know, everybody out there, like, I have a database of about 3,000 people, but I target my A-list is between 2 and 250, just depending on people I don't want to work with and people I do, right? Because that happens. So what we did is we targeted those people, and we sent out this link, and we did not ask them to register. So that's really key, because we wanted to leave it a little loosey-goosey, just because we wanted to see what it was going to be like. And if we messed up, we didn't want it to be too bad.
That's
but again,
right.
everybody's forgiving, right? But it turned out really great. And we had about 12 people on, a dozen people came on, but I had engagement galore. The emails I got from my other clients, oh, I'm sorry, we can't make it. We're doing this, we're doing that. How are you doing? So it created a lot of engagement. But with the 12 people we had on, we have one person who's going to be listing. We have another one, I didn't tell you, Rich. We have another one who's going to be listing next year because their financial situation changed with COVID, which they didn't know until they got on with us. And we told them the things that were happening. And we had a current buyer that just bought, moved from Toronto to come here, get out of the city. And we had a mix of people. So it was really, it was great. And they liked seeing each other.
Yep.
So from that, we're going to do some client appreciation events that we used to do in person.
It's brilliant. Like this is so much like, BNI, BNI is right. Yep. And like now BNI, this is the way they're doing it right here. And I go, why not? Like, it can be used. And the thing is, now that we're getting used to it, it becomes the new norm, right? Like at one time, when you're first, like the first video you do, you feel weird, right? You're going, oh, I don't know, that doesn't look very good. I don't like the way I look. I don't like the way I sound. And then after you've done 25 of them, you don't even think about it anymore. You don't even watch it. You just record it and send it. You know what I mean?
You asked Tom, my first recording is always my best. I very seldom will rewatch and redo unless I know I've said something wrong, like the address.
Yeah.
Re-record it. But I usually take my first take and I don't look at it again.
Yeah, I think it's the best way to do it. I really do. But we get you, everything becomes comfortable after a period of time. And this setting that we're in right now is starting to get very, very comfortable with people, right?
Yeah.
So you've now done 2 of these meetings?
I've done one for the A-list. We just did it the other day, but 2 of the Ask Me
2 of the
Anything.
Amy's. Yeah.
Okay. And when you, out of the 3 meetings, you've
We
got
have
2
2
leads,
solid.
like firm leads,
Firm.
and one person's already bought.
Yeah, and one
And this
person
is,
in the future.
and this is in COVID world. Like this
Yeah.
is now, right? This is when, you know, what's going on.
Well,
Yeah,
you know,
we're
it's
kicking
interesting.
ourselves. We're kicking ourselves because we could have been doing this so long ago, before, like pre-COVID. Like it's not like, this is not out of our space, our comfort zone. This is what we do all the time anyway. And the result, like the response that we got from our A-list in particular was like, why have we not been doing this with them? They enjoy it so much,
And we keep
right?
in touch with our A-list regularly,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So they're used to hearing from us and stuff too. And so when something weird like this, I got some going, what are you doing now? You know,
Well,
but it's engaging.
well, you probably heard because you're on most of the impact calls on Wednesday, but we got coaching members that are playing Rich Dad Poor Dad games online with some of their
Yeah.
clients, which is a brilliant way to really understand, you know, finances, right? You know, and you know, there's just so many people who have come up with all these cool ideas. Sometimes they're just having a happy hour Thursday at 4 o'clock, right? If anybody's interested, you know, I'm going to be on, have a cocktail. If you want to ask me real estate questions,
Yep.
great. If you don't, we'll just say hi to each other. You know, and it's such an easy way to communicate. And I like the idea of not having to register, because then people don't feel, you know, they just, if they're there, they show up, right?
We were happy if one person came to ask us a question, and we had 12, which was great. You
Yeah.
know, they're there because they want to know.
And they were
Yeah.
waiting for us. We had people there that were like, we thought we got on early to prep.
15 minutes
Like
early.
Yeah.
they were there just ready to go.
Yeah. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to share my screen for a moment, and then we're going to get to, there it is there. Look, somebody already set it up for me. So what I want to do, and we're going to get to the Q&A, but just before I do that, I do want to make you, this is the first time we've even talked about this as a company. We have our first virtual real estate conference coming up June 16th and 17th. So we're really excited about this. We've never done this before. This is our first shot at an actual real estate conference. We generally do in-person conference. With COVID, that's not possible. So I'm just going to show you a couple slides, what it's all about, and then we want to get to your questions. And I might have some more ideas here if we have time. Anyway, just it's sort of a layout of what's going on. We have you know, small giants, which are little ideas, a little bit like we're doing right now. Lightning rounds, we have a lot of people that do something really cool. They do 12-minute rapid fire presentations. We do a lot of interviews. The whole idea of this event is try to get the best practices out to the group. And these are just some of the topics, right, that we're going to touch on right here. But we've got lots more. We've got the whole agenda. And this is, as I said, this is the first time we've even talked about this. Now, here's the first one. We're only going to do it with 400 people. And Royal LePage is one of our partners, so it's sort of cool. And right now we've got about 180 people, but there are coaching members that have already registered. So we haven't even tried to sell a ticket yet, if you will. And the reason we want to keep it to 400 people is because during this event, what we actually do is we have breakout rooms. So you'll go off into breakout rooms and you share different ideas together. And if the event gets much bigger than that, we can't do breakout rooms unless there's too many people in a breakout room, and then it becomes a seminar in and of itself. So if you're interested, you get the partner pricing, and that's because Royal LePage is one of our partners. And I know Tara and Tom, you've both been to a million of our events, and I know you're already registered for this. So do you want to say anything to the people that are watching?
I can tell you, I like I've been going for years. You need to go. The bottom line, it's a great investment. I'm sad you can't go to the physical event, but Richard Robbins always does an excellent event no matter what. So I have no doubt this is going to be great. And we've done breakout rooms with our coaching, and the breakout rooms, I can tell you, will be worth your $250, because you're going to be on with other people who are going to give you some ideas, and it only takes one. And you'll make it back.
and I'll speak from the side of the introvert because I'm the introvert out of the two of us, right? Like going to conferences, a lot of the times will just make introverts go, I don't know if I want to put myself through that. Can I just do something from home? So the virtual conference is fantastic because of that. But I go to these every single time with Tara, despite the fact that I don't want to be surrounded by a million people. And the reason I go is because there are so many ideas. There are so many every year. We've been going for years now, decades now. Right. And every time we go, we pick up 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 ideas. We only have enough time in a year to implement 2 or 3 of them, but that's what we've been doing, 2 or 3 every year. And the business grows every single year, right? And because of it. So if you're thinking, I don't know if I want to attend a live event like this, do it because of the ideas. If you're thinking about the virtual event, do it because the ideas are going to be fantastic. I promise you that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we've been doing it for 20 years, and this is our first virtual. And normally we like if this works out, we're going to do probably a really big one with 1,000 or whatever the number happens to be. But we're just going to start with 400 people, and we'll take it from there. So we're just trying to, as everybody, we're trying to do business a different way, but we still want to make sure we can actually bring value to everybody. So Sherry said, "Is Masters Academy worthwhile for a new realtor?" And I would absolutely say it's exactly where you should be. Why create bad habits? Start with the really good ones. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, and I don't want to spend a lot of time promoting that. I just wanted to bring that up. I don't know what happened. I sort of lost the PowerPoint. Really through. So
I think you went
here's
to the
another
end,
question.
Rich. I think you went to the end of the PowerPoint. So I think you have to.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
There you
There
go.
you go.
Let's
Okay,
leave that
good.
up there.
Thank you. And anyway, we don't even have a landing page for this event yet. I just wanted to make sure we got it to Royal LePage first, and we're not even starting any formal promoting until mid next week. So you just have to call, or you can email the office, and somebody will call you back if you're interested in it. Okay. It says, are Tara and Tom directing the bold leads through Google or Facebook? You're doing it through Facebook, right?
Yeah. So all of their advertising is coming through Facebook for us.
Yeah. Okay.
I've got a couple more questions that came in the chat as well, and I wanted to
Good.
summarize. I think for us, I was charting it out, and one of the things is I was like, okay, so you're using Facebook to generate organic leads, bold leads to generate paid leads and retarget those leads.
Yeah.
Then, like you said, it's an immediate email and a CMA within preferably the day, because I did have some people in the chat out. So a CMA preferably within the day, but at the latest the next day. From there they go on a 24-month drip campaign, which,
Yep.
like you said, when they engage, we update that. And then it's like recycled through your engagement of these people on your social via things like you said, the virtual tours. I'm not using the right words, but where you're driving around to the listings, showing them through things like the AMAs, the Ask Me Anythings, and through things like your client events.
And we retarget, like, so an example is somebody that comes through that campaign that hasn't responded to Tara, right? That because they come through Facebook, they're targeted with a pixel. Some of you will know what that means, and others don't. But we retarget those same people when we do a promotion of, say, Tour Tuesday. I'll put $5 of a promotion behind that, or I'll put $10 of a promotion behind that, and I'll target those people. So they now start to see our Tour Tuesday on a regular basis. They now start to get familiar with us. And the benefit, some people ask, well, why do you do that? The benefit is what I'm going to call the celebrity effect. With Tour Tuesday, we have had people who we do not know and have no connection with us, right, giggle when they meet Tara at the grocery store, right?
I giggle when I meet her.
Well, of course,
Me
it's
too.
Tara,
I was going to say, same here.
Right? We've had people know my name when I'm walking. They know who I am because of Tour Tuesday, and they're like, Tour Tuesday, Tom, right? We've had and this is what's great about a smaller center, because this is possible in a smaller center. It's harder in a place like Toronto, but in a smaller center, this is really possible to create this celebrity effect. We've had clients who have not met me. We have the story where we had to meet a client at night to show them a house. Tara all of a sudden couldn't do it, asked me if I could do it for her, right? I show up, it's a single lady at night in the dark meeting a man she's never met. And as soon as she got out of the car, we didn't even think about it, right? As soon as we got out of the car, she freaked at how happy she was to see me, because she's like, I've seen you on Tour Tuesday 100 times. It's Tom, yay, right? And we had the best time showing the house. But that wouldn't have happened had I just been a stranger stepping out of the car, not expecting me. that would have been a problem, but Tour Tuesday conquered it completely for us.
I normally tell my clients, but I couldn't in that particular situation.
Yeah.
So the question, sorry, you mentioned $5, and Ann O'Neill's asking a good question about $5 per person target, or like total ad.
No, that's like total ad spend on that particular one. $5, $10. Facebook can be such an incredibly affordable place to advertise. Just ridiculously affordable.
So early on, we got a really good question. You talked a lot about a virtual assistant and training them up and getting them to do stuff. And Janet Butter, I think, it was Butler or Butter? Oh my God, Butler, I think it is. I wrote very sloppily. I had a lot going on here. I had the phone here, by the way. I've got anyways, it's been busy. But she mentioned just like, okay, that's cool. That sounds neat. How do I even find a virtual assistant?
Yeah, great question. Okay, so easy place to find a virtual assistant is on Upwork, upworks.com. It is a marketplace of virtual assistants all around the world. And what I really like about that particular marketplace is one, payment goes to Upworks and then it goes to the virtual assistant, right? So there's two upsides. One, you're protected. Two, the virtual assistant is protected, right? Two, there's lots of reviews that are on there. You can see the work that they've done because they usually have reviews of what other people have said. You can see how they've scored on things like English tests, that sort of stuff. And you just type in virtual real estate assistant and a ton of them will come up and you'll see different rankings. We typically find our real estate assistants in the Philippines, and there's a reason for that. One, English is fantastic in the Philippines. It really is fantastic. Two, from a Western's value standpoint, they're a lot closer to us than a lot of other countries. And I've had virtual assistants from Belarus, from Russia, from India, like all over the place. The Philippines seem to be like the best place to match the type of customer care we want to give our clients. All right.
Rich, can I ask you a question, Rich? Did you expect that answer to go that deep?
No, that's what I mean. Hey, what did I tell you about the geek thing? I don't look it, but I'm.
But that's us.
Yeah,
sorry, Tara.
Sorry, Tara. We're going to end that question now. There's a question that came up, and I know that Rich asked this yesterday, and it was really a good one. And it was Facebook group versus Facebook page.
Yeah.
Because groups are really popular right now, and groups are great, but they're very limited. So, do you want to take that one, Tom?
Do you want me to dig into that? Okay, so there's this talk about
surface. We're running out of time.
Okay, sorry. So Facebook groups versus Facebook pages is, to me, the difference between owning an association and owning a company. The Facebook page, you own the assets, you're able to advertise to, and I realize engagement is lower on a Facebook page than Facebook groups. But I do believe that Facebook groups are great right now. Over time, that benefit will get reduced and you won't have the same ownership of it you do on a Facebook page. You can't do the same level of advertising, can't do the same level of targeting. They're two aren't the same. And I'm not saying there's not a place for both of them. You could actually have both of them if you have the time to manage both of them. But if I had to pick, I would still pick a Facebook page.
Thank you.
Yeah, good answer.
I put up here a slide because I was like, I always take note from your team of what you guys use. And as you guys were talking, I was putting together a list. We get a lot of questions. You say Fiverr, you go like, I was Googling dub video and I was like, where is this? And then it's like, Tom was like, it's 2Bs. And I was like, oh, okay. So I put these all up for you, but I am looking at the time. It is 2:58. Did we want to answer? There's one more question, or do I want to turn it to you to wrap this thing up, Richard?
Yeah, no, I think you can answer the question, but there's one you missed there that I think is really important that I use. It's called otter.ai.
Yeah, that's a really important one.
Yeah, and I use it as well. So it's called Otter, OTTER.ai. And basically what it does, if I'm doing a podcast interview as an example, so that I don't have to re-listen to the whole thing, I just put Otter on my phone and it sits there and it records the whole conversation. And it also, if there's two people talking, it starts a new paragraph and the second it's pretty cool.
All right, added to the list. And
if you can add appsumo.com too.
He speeds his up by like 1.5, so he's hearing it really quickly.
Yeah.
Appsumo.com too, Mike, if you want to add that in. That's how we found a lot of these tools.
Okay. Now I got to get back.
I think Otter.ai would be great is if you're on a listing presentation, you have a team and you want your assistant to listen to everything that they said in the presentation.
All right, I'm just going to point out I'm at the bottom of my slide here, so I'm running out of space.
Okay, sorry.
I'm running low on time, but that ties into something like I mentioned, Rich. Every time I speak to you, I learn something. Every time I speak to Tom and Tara, I learn something. Where can I have put down here the facebook.com/I love Belleville, as well as facebook.com/official Richard Robbins, which are two great places for you to connect with both of these people, right? The people here today, a lot of knowledge to share. I think that would be the best place for people to connect with you. I'm going to ask for Rich, if you could reshare your screen, because as you mentioned, there's nowhere people are going to find what you put up. And if people want to take that number, you can't find it online. It does not exist.
Yeah.
I tried to find it. You need to call if you are interested in this, and it's a very small amount of people.
Yeah. So yeah, they can call and talk to somebody. If you want more details about it, it's only 5 hours a day. You know, it goes from 11 a.m. Eastern time to 4 p.m. Eastern time. So it's not like it's from 8 to 5 or 8 to 6. But yeah, just call the office and we'll get you all the information you need so you can make the right decision for you.
And then the question here is about, and I have two questions that relate to your campaign. The first one is just, would you be willing to share the script for your first email? I'm going to add an asterisk in there and say, just because it works for Tara and Tom doesn't mean, and Tara and her team, sorry, I should say, but doesn't mean that's going to work for you.
Yep.
But if they're willing, cool.
A lot of it is tests, it's trial and error. And we actually did one for COVID. We did a video and we added it in as because we were told, right? Don't have listings, don't get buyers out there, slow everything down. I got nothing for 2 weeks. And no, we didn't run it 2 weeks, 1 week. And I'm like, I'm not getting any responses anywhere. Take it down. I'd rather tell people individually.
Yeah,
and
it was an epic fail.
It was an epic fail.
Yeah. But that's the point, and I think that's an important thing to say. It is okay to fail, right? It is okay to do something, try it, learn from it, and do something new. That is part of the process.
Anybody has any questions, I don't mind answering them. So you can shoot me an email or give me a call.
Yep.
And then here, the question that we have from Carol Urban, who's just saying, like, as you get, when you talk about a 24-month campaign, how is that conversion happening near the end of it? Sorry, what can you guys just in the chat, could you just put it for all attendees, the email that they could get to you? It sounds like people want to get to you immediately. And then just let us know, like, how does that conversion rate tail off? When Richard said you're playing the long tail game, that's what you said, right, Rich?
Yeah.
Yeah, long tail. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so the conversion's slower. Every single year we pick up like another two deals, maybe another 3 deals off of that super long stretch, right? That goes out there. So, and you got to think there's a lot of people in there. So we're picking up not a whole lot. The key is that we're not doing any extra work to pick up those 2, 3. Like they're just bonuses that are coming through.
I am going to stress this, and I can't stress it enough. I very seldom follow up with them personally in the last year of the campaign. So I kind of go, because I'm busy enough without that. But if I get some from it, which I usually get 1 or 2 from them, that's great. The gravy is if you take the time and actually utilize it and you contact them personally, not just the email campaign. Email campaign is supposed to be helping you. It is not supposed to be your full introduction, right? You should still be making the phone call to them. You should still be trying to get that interaction with them. The email is just because you're busy and you forget about them. So when we want to generate more, it's a database full of leads in there.
If you think in your head, automation augments, it does not replace.
Yeah.
Right? You do not get to replace your full lead follow-up process with just trying to do automation. If you do that, you will get results, but you won't get great results. But if you augment what you already do well, you will have great results.
Yeah. And I think that's a really important point is everybody thinks there's got to be some magic bullets. They don't have to work hard anymore, and it is not that at all.
No.
Right. I say number one is, as you already do, your database, your repeat referral, that's the number one place, right? And you guys are great at that. That's where a lot of your business comes from. But if you're looking for more and you need other revenue streams, then you've got to say, okay, how am I going to generate more leads than I'm getting from my database?
Yeah.
So I'm going to say in terms of that, firstly, I want to thank everybody. Thanks so much for everybody who's saying thank you on there. I love seeing the thanks in the chat. And, I'm going to start off thanking everybody for tuning in. Because again, if we just did this for us, I would love it. But to be fair, it's always great when other people are here with us. So because I'd spend the whole time with you guys all afternoon. But in terms of that, I want to thank you, Richard, so much for always supporting us and being here for us, and for we scheduled this long before COVID, and for I know you've exploded with webinars, so thank you so much always for bringing us great people, and you guys are the team who said, hey, we want to interview a Royal LePage group out there, and I said, okay, go for it. So I want to thank you for doing all the prep and all the hard work that needed to come to do this. And then Tara and Tom, I want to thank you guys so much for coming in, sharing your expertise with everybody, and being so open. There's the list is like 11 apps deep that you mentioned in an hour. So as you said, don't go crazy here. Augment, right? Find something that works well for you. And I'm going to repeat something that Tara said that I thought was really powerful, and I actually quote it in the chat as well. But give them the information that shows the info.
Yes.
And I thought, man, that's so cool, because I think a lot of people get caught up in like you said, what's the give them that. Give them here. This is what you want. So I'm just going to give it to you but just prove that you know what you're talking about. So Rich, I want to let you wrap this up, because this is all about you.
Thank you. Well, first of all, Tara and Tom, thanks for being here, and you're great people. Love you to death. You know that.
Thank you.
It's always great when we have those big events and I look out and you're sitting right there. And so it's always nice to see familiar faces. If I'm going to screw up, I might as well screw up in front of people that know me, right? And even for the time yesterday, and for the great contribution you bring to the organization, it's amazing. And to all the people, hey, thanks for jumping on today. If you're in Ontario, it's one beautiful day. So. And by the way, it was only this particular call keeping me from a cocktail in my backyard. I want you to know that. Okay?
Well, let's let you guys get to it. Rich, I'm going to be in your pool in about 5 minutes. Should be a good time. You can feel free to watch me swim. Guys, everybody, thank you guys so much. Have a great day.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.